On a peaceful autumn morning, I woke up before my alarm clock rang. The clock showed 6:55. Usually, I wake up to the 7 o'clock alarm, but today I managed to get up a little early. Outside the window, the city of St. Paul was wrapped in morning mist. I'm Rebecca Anderson. My day begins in this quiet hour. I work as a pharmacist at Regent's Hospital while raising my 8-year-old son, Lucas. We live together in a white 2-story house. Lucas, time to wake up. When I knock on my son's room upstairs, I hear his usual response. Yes, Mom. While preparing breakfast, I look out at the backyard through the kitchen window. A blue swing set and a small sandbox. Every time I see Lucas playing there, I know I made the right choice with this house. It's a 10-minute walk to school, we have good relationships with the neighbors, and best of all, my son says, I love it here. Drawn by the smell of pancakes cooking, Lucas comes running down the stairs. He's wearing his Lego t-shirt, still looking a bit sleepy, but his bright smile is as cheerful as ever. Don't forget your glove for baseball practice after school today. All right. I'm going to practice hard so I can hit a home run when I play with Dad. Lucas responds with boundless energy. He sees his father twice a month. Even after the divorce, I've worked to maintain a good relationship between son and father. I believe that's our responsibility as adults. After breakfast, I send Lucas off to school at 8 o'clock. He's in 2nd grade at St. Paul Elementary School. According to his teacher, Mrs. Brown, he's quite popular in class. He's especially good at getting everyone excited about Minecraft discussions, and he's always at the center of friend groups during recess. After seeing him off, I head to the hospital. My work at Regent's Hospital is busy but fulfilling. I particularly focus on medication counseling for patients. Nothing makes me happier than hearing Ms. Anderson's explanations are so easy to understand. During lunch breaks, I often get video calls from Patricia. My mother-in-law remains an important person in my life. She moved to a senior living facility in the St. Paul suburbs 3 months ago. Being a former elementary school teacher, she takes an active interest in Lucas's education. Rebecca, I finished knitting Lucas's new sweater. I'll send it this week. Thank you, Patricia. Lucas will be so happy. Patricia's knitted items always become my son's treasured possessions. She continues to support us with her unwavering kindness, even after the divorce. At 5:30 in the evening, I finish work and pick up my son. After baseball practice, we prepare dinner together. Tonight it's casserole. While cooking, I listen to his stories about school. We do homework together at the kitchen table. Bedtime is at 9 o'clock. This is our weekday routine. Weekends are livelier. Saturday mornings are for baseball practice, and afternoons often include shopping at Rosedale Center. Sundays always start with worship at the Cathedral of St. Paul. Afterward, our tradition is walking at Como Regional Park. Twice a month are days spent with his father. And we end the weekend with a video call with Patricia. The divorce came suddenly 2 years ago. My husband's overtime increased, and family time decreased. He became glued to his smartphone and reluctant to participate in family events. Then came an anonymous tip from a colleague. With photographic evidence, the affair was exposed. We chose an amicable divorce for our son's sake. I received custody, and child support is $2,000 monthly. The Venmo payments have been regular so far. With my pharmacist's salary of $85,000 and the child support, I managed to keep up with the $450,000 mortgage. My workplace evaluations have been improving, and there's talk of promotion. But what matters most is my son's smile. Watching him play with Lego Star Wars sets, practicing baseball, chatting happily during video calls with Patricia. These everyday moments are my treasures. I occasionally post photos with my son on Instagram and Facebook. The likes mostly come from our church community and mothers I've met through PTA activities. Their support has been invaluable since the divorce. No one could have predicted how these peaceful days would suddenly begin to unravel. That day started like any other weekday. After finishing my duties at Regents Hospital, I headed home in my car at 5:30 p.m. Late September in Minnesota was already showing strong signs of autumn. The street trees, turned red with fall colors, gleamed golden in the sunset. The scene was picture postcard beautiful, something that would normally soothe my soul. As I entered the residential area, I could hear the voices of children heading home from school. They walked in groups of 2 or 3. Watching them, I imagined Lucas walking home with his friends too. But today he had baseball practice, so that scene would have to wait until tomorrow. In my rearview mirror, the twilight sky painted a gentle gradient from orange to purple. When I parked in our driveway, I noticed Lucas standing in the yard, holding something. Still in his baseball uniform, he was cradling a large box in both hands. His baseball cap was slightly tilted, and his hair looked damp with sweat. "Mom! Look! Grandma sent this." My son's voice cracked with excitement. As I got off my bike and hurried toward him, I saw it was a package carefully wrapped in brown paper. The wrapping paper did look similar to what Patricia usually uses. But something was off. The corners were folded more sharply than usual. Patricia's wrapping style usually has a softer touch. "Lucas, was this on the doorstep?" "Yes. It was already there when I got back from practice." "Look, it's from Grandma's address." Checking the address label Lucas pointed to, I saw it showed Patricia's old address. The address from before she moved to the senior living facility 3 months ago. The careful handwriting did look like hers, but looking closely, the way the R was written was slightly different. Patricia always writes her R.S. with a rounded top, but this one was angular. "Did you already open it?" I could hear a slight tremor in my own voice, though my son didn't seem to notice. "Well, I was just so curious." "Look, Mom. It's amazing." Lucas pulled out a Lego Star Wars set from the box. It was an expensive $299.99 set that my son had been looking at repeatedly on Amazon. Just last week, he had said, "Maybe I'll ask Dad to buy it for me." When I heard that, I had mentally noted it as a potential Christmas present. "Wow, that's wonderful." While the words came out of my mouth, anxiety was growing in my chest. Patricia always consults with me before sending anything. In last week's video call, she had just finished knitting a sweater. She said she'd send that this week. But now, suddenly, a Lego set. And from her old address. When I turned on the kitchen light, I found a card inside the package. On high-quality cream-colored paper, written carefully in blue ink. My precious little star. Indeed, that's the phrase Patricia always uses for Lucas. Since the divorce, my mother-in-law, who's particularly concerned about my son, always includes these words when sending sweaters. But this wasn't a hand-knitted sweater. It was a Lego set. And with no prior consultation. Sitting in a dining room chair, I let out a deep sigh. Outside the window, the twilight sky was gradually changing colors. Warm lights were beginning to appear in the windows of neighboring houses. Usually, this view would calm my heart, but now it only increased my sense of unease. Lucas, is it okay if Mom calls Grandma? Sure. We need to say thank you. I want to talk to her too. My son showed an innocent smile. His expression created an odd contrast with my current anxiety. While Lucas's eyes sparkled with expectation and joy, my heart was being covered by dark shadows. My fingers trembled slightly as I dialed Patricia's number on my smartphone. After 3 rings, I heard Patricia's voice. Hello, Patricia. We just received a Lego set. What? I haven't sent anything. My premonition was right. There was clear confusion in Patricia's voice on the other end of the line. The change in her tone transformed my anxiety into certainty. But it's from your old address, and there's a card that says, "My precious little star." Rebecca, it's not from me. That's impossible. I moved to the new address 3 months ago. I wouldn't use the old address. Besides, Lego. You know I would send a sweater. A chill ran down my spine. As a pharmacist, I'm particularly sensitive to safety management. I always verify even a single suspicious package from pharmaceutical companies. An unknown package. Moreover, one sent by someone impersonating Patricia. Recent news stories about crimes targeting children flashed through my mind. Lucas, don't touch that Lego set for now. Leaning against the kitchen counter, I tried to keep my voice as calm as possible. Huh? But, isn't it from Grandma? My son's expression clouded over. His eyes, which had been full of expectation, gradually filled with uncertainty. I struggled to maintain my composure while gently explaining. Just wait until Mom checks it out, okay? Can you promise? Okay. Lucas looked dissatisfied, but safety came first now. While dialing the police number on my smartphone, I carefully placed the package on the kitchen table, minimizing contact areas to preserve it as evidence. As the sun began to set and the surroundings took on a purplish hue, street lights began to illuminate one by one. In this setting, I started explaining the situation to the police. I switched the call with Patricia to speaker mode for a 3-way conversation. Patricia's confused voice, the police officer's calm questions, and Lucas's small sighs mixed together as a tense atmosphere gradually filled the house. Outside the window, the twilight scene remained unchanged as always. Through the windows of neighboring houses, glimpses of warm dinner scenes could be seen. But inside our house, we were frozen in anxiety and tension. The fluorescent lights of the police station cast an impersonal glow on the package. In the evidence analysis room of the St. Paul Police Department, Lieutenant Johnson carefully peeled back the wrapping paper with white-gloved hands. Next to him stood a forensic specialist, recording each movement on a tablet. I held my son's hand tightly as we watched. A large clock hung on the wall of the analysis room. It pointed to 7 p.m. Despite missing dinner time, Lucas hadn't complained once. Today, I was grateful for his patience. "Mrs. Anderson, this package was left on your doorstep, correct? Did anyone notice any suspicious individuals?" "Yes. My son says it was already there when he returned from baseball practice. It seems none of the neighbors noticed anything." Beside me, Lucas gave a small nod. Usually active, he was unusually quiet, perhaps feeling the tension of being in a police station. He was unconsciously twirling the hem of his blue t-shirt with his fingers. "Mom, are you hungry?" Lucas asked in a small voice. "It's okay. Just a little longer," I answered, gently embracing his shoulders. "A Lego Star Wars set. You mentioned your son had wanted this product." Lieutenant Johnson carefully lifted the box, shining light on its bottom surface. His expression, that of a man in his late 40s, showed the sharpness that comes from years of investigative experience. Suddenly, his expression subtly changed. "Get me a UV light. There's an unusual adhesive trace here." The forensics officer took out a special light from a dedicated case and illuminated the bottom of the Lego box. In the darkness, faint traces of adhesive glowed blue-white. "This is, as I suspected. It might be the same pattern as recent cases." Lieutenant Johnson began carefully checking each Lego brick. His handling suggested some kind of certainty. When he took out one of the larger foundation bricks, he peered at its bottom surface. "As I thought. It's a GPS tracker. Get this analyzed immediately." A chill ran down my spine. A small electronic device had been skillfully hidden in the bottom of a Lego brick. A disc-shaped device about 2 centimeters in diameter. It looked harmless, like a button battery. But considering its purpose, my chest tightened with fear. It's the latest type of tracker that transmits location information via Wi-Fi. It's a commercially available product sold on Amazon. However, the lieutenant observed the device more closely. Under the LED light, the tracker's surface glowed blue. The installation is a bit sloppy. It doesn't seem like professional work. The use of adhesive is amateurish too. There are areas where it's leaked out, and leaving such traces clearly shows inexperience." I caught my breath at those words. Not a professional criminal. But someone had intentionally tried to track my son's whereabouts. That fact filled my maternal heart with further anxiety. Baseball practice locations, school positions, visits to friends' houses, they might have tracked all of it. Let us check the security camera footage. Fortunately, this area has a high rate of surveillance camera installation. We moved to the monitor room. In the dimly lit interior, multiple displays cast blue-white light. Adams from the technical division quickly typed on the keyboard, bringing up footage from nearby security cameras one after another. Our house surroundings, the path to the baseball field, and the time in question. 3:15 p.m. Just before baseball practice began. A woman appeared, carrying a package, her face hidden behind sunglasses and a mask. A black dress with what was clearly a luxury brand bag. Chanel, perhaps. But there was something off about her walk. As if she wasn't used to making deliveries. Her step seemed unsettled. This woman, about 5 feet 3 inches tall. Late 30s, perhaps. Judging from her build, clothing, and the brand of her bag, it's unlikely she's a regular delivery person. The lieutenant paused the footage. At that moment, something caught in my mind. A familiar figure. That walk, the way she held her bag. In my memory, a foggy shape gradually became clearer. Mrs. Anderson, I apologize, but may we check with your ex-husband's workplace? Though slightly hesitant at that question, I agreed. A query to my ex-husband's company. Could there be some connection there? My anxiety and questions grew even larger. The 30 minutes waiting for the inquiry results felt like an eternity. Lucas was reading a book he had brought in the police station waiting room, occasionally glancing my way. Looking at his innocent profile, I waited for the results with an almost prayer-like feeling. Mrs. Anderson. Lieutenant Johnson returned with a photograph. His expression was even more serious. Do you know this woman? The face in the photo was indeed familiar. My ex-husband's company year-end party. A woman I met just once, right before the divorce 2 years ago. Catherine Miller. I remember she was introduced as a colleague's wife. At the time, we just exchanged normal greetings. I never imagined I would see her photo again in these circumstances. Yes. I met her once, at a company year-end party. My words trailed off. Then suddenly, all the pieces connected. The affair that caused the divorce. The anonymous tip. The photographic evidence. Could it have been her? I felt slightly dizzy. Ms. Miller is reportedly separated from her husband currently. She's in the middle of divorce mediation at family court. The lieutenant's voice continued. The room's atmosphere grew heavier. And we've received information that your ex-husband has begun living with a new girlfriend. Various emotions swirled in my head. Anger, sadness, and above all, worry for my son. Catherine Miller had tried to monitor our lives. For what purpose? Revenge? Harassment? Or something more dangerous? I'd like to discuss future measures. First, would you consider installing security cameras? The lieutenant's voice continued. Outside the window, night had deepened. St. Paul's street lights cast orange light. It felt like a completely different world from the twilight scene I had seen just a few hours ago. Lucas looked up from his book in the waiting room, looking my way. Looking at those innocent eyes, my determination as a mother solidified. I had to protect my son, in whatever form necessary. Even if the threat came from an unexpected person. Lieutenant, I'll cooperate in every way possible. For my son's safety, whatever procedures are necessary. My voice was stronger than I had expected. I was a bit surprised at my own strength. Yes, this might be maternal instinct. The instinctive strength to protect my son. The next morning, I faced Catherine Miller in the police station interrogation room. A few hours after her emergency arrest the previous night. In the small space surrounded by dim gray walls, she sat hunched over, still wearing her black dress. The expensive Chanel bag seen in the security camera footage had been seized as evidence. Her makeup was smeared, making her appear completely different from her intimidating presence of yesterday. Next to me sat Dr. Brown, the psychological counselor. Her calm demeanor provided a slight sense of comfort in this heavy atmosphere. "Why did you involve my son?" My voice was calmer than I had imagined. Through the glass, I could see her shoulders trembling slightly. Her suit collar showed wrinkles, presumably from the night before. I had a right to be happy too. Catherine's voice was thin and shaking. Traces of tears remained around her eyes. But he immediately went for someone younger. I was just a disposable thing to him, wasn't I? Her voice tone changed dramatically at times. The psychological counselor carefully noted this. Her confession gradually became clear. The affair with my ex-husband 2 years ago. It started with casual conversations, gradually developing into a deeper relationship. Then, her expectations for a new life with him. For her, stuck in a failing marriage, it represented hope for a new life. However, those expectations didn't last long. As soon as he broke up with me, he started with a new woman, and she's 23. I'm already 38. With a girl whose only merit is her youth, with no career. Her expression twisted with each word. Catherine was already separated from her own husband, in the middle of divorce mediation. She was on leave from work. The anger and desperation of losing everything had driven her to the edge. But why my son? Why try to involve an innocent child? I couldn't help but ask. At that moment, my maternal emotions seeped into my voice. I was watching your posts. On Instagram and Facebook. Daily updates of happy mother and son photos. Church events, baseball games, school activities, portraying the perfect single-parent family. Catherine's expression twisted more severely. Her fingers gripped the edge of the table tightly. I wanted children too. 7 years of fertility treatments. All failed. IVF, artificial insemination. Yet he's trying to start a new family with a young girl. I couldn't stand it. If only your son wasn't there, he would suffer too. Her words sent a chill down my spine. The air in the interrogation room felt like it had dropped below freezing. I planted the GPS to learn your movement patterns. Someday, if I got the chance. I was planning to kidnap him. But at the very end, I couldn't. Her voice trailed off. The fluorescent lights cast cold light in the interrogation room. The psychological counselor quietly placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ms. Miller," Lieutenant Johnson began. "This is a clear violation of anti-stalking laws. Additionally, targeting a minor makes this a particularly malicious case. Including attempted kidnapping charges, this won't be resolved easily." Catherine just nodded silently. Her expression seemed to have lost all will to resist. The subsequent response moved quickly. Processing for anti-stalking law violations. Seizure of GPS devices and related evidence. Large quantities of photos documenting our daily lives were found on her computer and smartphone. And that same day, a restraining order was issued to protect my son and me. What happens now? I asked the lieutenant before leaving the police station. Outside, the sun had already set, with street lights casting lonely light. The suspect Miller is already receiving psychiatric evaluation. There are suspicions of severe depression and borderline personality disorder. She'll be required to undergo forced treatment. At minimum, she might need 3 months of hospitalization. I let out a deep sigh. Feelings of hatred mixed with something like pity. I was belatedly realizing the frightening nature of pushing someone to the edge. Her parents have arrived from Minneapolis, the lieutenant continued. They're quiet people. After treatment, they plan to relocate to Grand Rapids, Michigan. They've already been in contact with a hospital there. The following week, I received a letter from Catherine's parents. Written in careful handwriting on elegant stationery. Please forgive our daughter's actions. We will ensure she focuses on psychiatric treatment and, as parents, take responsibility to watch over her so this never happens again. The handwritten characters revealed the parents' anguish. Particularly the words, "as parents," made my heart tighten as a mother myself. And 1 month later, a letter arrived from Catherine herself. From an envelope bearing the St. Paul General Hospital Psychiatric Ward sender's stamp came words of apology written in trembling handwriting. I am truly sorry for doing something unforgivable. At that time, I had completely lost myself. But that's no excuse. Particularly, attempting to put your innocent son in danger is a sin I can never fully atone for. Now, I spend my days reflecting on my actions while receiving counseling. As I finished reading the letter, outside the window, Lucas was playing baseball with his friends. The newly installed security cameras quietly watched over them. It was an ordinary, peaceful Sunday afternoon scene. I called my ex-husband. I felt we needed to create some distance in our previously amicable relationship. I understand. I won't let her meet him for a while either. Lucas's safety comes first. Besides, I bear responsibility for this incident too. There was a weight of responsibility in my ex-husband's voice. He had already broken up with his new girlfriend. Following police advice, we installed a state-of-the-art security camera system at home. Social media accounts were switched to completely private, and friend lists were reviewed. We explained the situation to the church community and strengthened their watch over Lucas. Particularly during baseball practice, coaches now always confirm drop-offs and pickups. Above all, Patricia's presence was reassuring. Rebecca, don't worry. I'm moving closer now. For Lucas's sake, and for yours too. Besides, it'll be more convenient for knitting sweaters if I'm nearby, right? Tears welled up at my mother-in-law's warm words. Our bond, unchanged since the divorce, gives us the strength to overcome any crisis. As a criminal case, this was resolved. But as a mother, I learned a lot. Protecting children means always being prepared for crises that can come from unexpected directions. But more important is protecting my son's smile. We mustn't let excessive anxiety or caution hinder his innocent growth. Watching my son playing baseball outside, I made this strong promise to myself. This incident became a new starting point for us as mother and son. To move forward stronger, wiser, and more cautious. But never afraid, always looking ahead.